started?
It seems very clear to me that a number of people deeply involved in artificial intelligence see it as a kind of mechanism for transhumanism, for transcendence of our mortal flesh, and either some kind of creation of a successor species or some kind of merger of mind and machine. And do you think that's just all kind of irrelevant fantasy? Or do you think it's just hype? Do you think people are trying to raise money by pretending that we're going to build a machine god, right? Is it hype? Is it delusion? Is it something you worry about? I think you would prefer the human race to endure, right? You're hesitating.
Yeah, well,
yes?
I don't know. I would.
This is a long hesitation. This is a long hesitation.
There's so many questions implicit in this.
Should the human race survive?
Yes.
Okay.
But I also would I also would like us to radically solve these problems.
Right.
All right. That is our red flag number 1. Let's get into the background of Peter Thiel. To my research, Peter Thiel came up in the early 2000s as the co-founder of PayPal and Elon Musk. He is essentially one of the main members of the PayPal mafia. He is someone who is cloaking himself as a religious, conservative, libertarian figure today. And in my opinion, probably knows who the Antichrist is and is one of the main members building the Antichrist system today. He's a well-known technologist, aka technocrat, crazy about life extension. Just like Diddy, he has his own blood boy. Reportedly, or it's been reported, he pays $40,000 every quarter for an 18-year-old's blood and does blood transfusions. Let's hear a little bit more.
And so, it's always, I don't know, transhumanism is this, the ideal was this radical transformation where your human natural body gets transformed into an immortal body. And there's a critique of, let's say, the trans people in a sexual context, or a transvestite is someone who changes their clothes and cross dresses. And a transsexual is someone where you change your, penis into a vagina. And we can then debate how well those surgeries work. But we want...
Boys have penis, girls have vaginas.
Want more transformation than that. The critique is not that it's weird and unnatural. It's so pathetically little. And we want more than cross-dressing or changing your sex organs. We want you to be able to change your heart and change your mind and change your whole body. And then Orthodox Christianity, by the way, the critique Orthodox Christianity has of this is these things don't go far enough. Like that transhumanism is just changing your body, but you also need to transform your soul and you need to transform your whole self. And so,
right. But the other, wait.
Oh God, the time is so close. This guy freaks me out. Let's go over some Peter Thiel quotes I have here. I no longer believe freedom and democracy are compatible. Competition is for losers. Let's just keep going.
Sorry. I generally agree with what I think is your belief that religion should be a friend to science and ideas of scientific progress. I think any idea of divine providence has to encompass the fact that we have progressed and achieved and done things that would have been unimaginable to our ancestors. But it still also seems like, the promise of Christianity in the end is you get the perfected body and the perfected soul through God's grace. and the person who tries to do it on their own with a bunch of machines is likely to end up as a dystopian character.
Well, it's let's articulate this.
And you can have a heretical form of Christianity, that says something else.
I don't know. I think the word nature does not occur once in the Old Testament, and so if you and there is a word in which a sense in which the way I understand the Judeo-Christian inspiration is it is about transcending nature. It is about overcoming things.
It's about the worst thing I think that I could ever come into contact with. Competition can be destructive. Great companies escape competition by creating unique advantages. Does this man sound like he is free market, libertarian, let the best model compete and win out type of person to you? Or does he seem to be the type of person that was intricately linked with all these companies such as PayPal, which he then morphed into a partnership, or I think he's a co-founder of Palantir and Alex Karp, which he also was a founding investor into Facebook. Ironically, the day that LifeLog, the predecessor to Facebook, shut down, Facebook started on the same day LifeLog shut down. And he was the first outside investor giving $500,000 to Mark Zuckerberg to start Facebook.
And, and the closest thing you can say to nature is that people are fallen, and that's the natural thing in a Christian sense, is that you're messed up. And that's true. But, there's some ways that, with God's help, you are supposed to transcend that and overcome that. And,
right. But
and
the people,
if you just
present company accepted, most of the people working to build the hypothetical machine god don't think that they're cooperating with Yahweh, Jehovah, the Lord of hosts. They think that they're building immortality
Ross,
on their own.
Yeah,
right?
We're jumping around a lot of things.
All right, so I got the information pulled up here. LifeLog ended February 4th, 2004, the same day as Facebook began. He co-founded with Elon PayPal in 1998, co-founded Palantir and brought on Alex Karp in 2003. This guy is linked to every arm of the Antichrist and Beast system. He is one of the main architects. And he is a well-avowed, well-known technocrat, said, we've progressed a lot in the digital realm, in the software realm, which will be more important later, but we haven't actually built out the infrastructure. I think the quote went something like, we thought we'd get flying cars, but we got 143 character tweets. So if you see the circles he runs in, David Sachs, AI crypto czar, another very close friend of his, Alex Karp, co-founder of Palantir, who scoops everyone's data. It's said to be that they are the digital Epstein. They have everyone's communications, backdoor access into everything that you would need to blackmail people. Close friends with Elon Musk. Elon Musk is putting up the Starlink satellites. He's building the boring tunnels. Who knows? Tunnels get a bad rep nowadays. Was invested in a company called Seasteading, which built artificial floating cities outside of governmental districts, meaning no nation state can enforce laws there. International, if you know anything about international law, you go out a certain amount of nautical miles off a nation's coastline and it's a free-for-all. You can have no holds barred gay fun or whatever the hell he's doing. It's not a good person. And the last person that should be any sort of authority on the Antichrist.
So
yes.
Again, the critique I was saying is they're not ambitious enough.
Right.
From a Christian point of view, these people are not ambitious enough. Now, then we get into this question: well, are they
but they're not morally and spiritually ambitious enough.
And are they still physically ambitious enough? And are they even still really transhumanists? And this is where man, the cryonics thing, that seems like a retro thing from 1999. There isn't that much of that going on. So they're not transhumanists on a physical body. And then, okay, well,
Right.
maybe it's not about cryonics. Maybe it's about uploading, which, okay, well, it's not quite. I'd rather have my body. I don't want just a computer program that simulates
Yes.
me. So that
I
uploading
agree.
seemed like a step down from cryonics. But then even that's, it's part of the conversation, and this is where it gets very hard to score. And I don't want to say they're all making it up and it's all fake, but I
But
don't
you think some of it's fake?
I don't think it's fake. Implies people are lying, but I want to say it's not the center of gravity.
You have been giving talks recently about the concept of the Antichrist.
Oh, he's been giving talks, all right. Cute little caveat here. Known business associate of Jeffrey Epstein showed up multiple times in the Epstein emails using terms in odd places like, let's meet together for politics. That's a great appetizer, and I'm sure we can entertain you, and has been known to even give academic symposiums on Little St. James. This dude is essentially another Epstein.
Which is a Christian concept, an apocalyptic concept. What does that mean to you? What is the Antichrist?
How much time do we have?
We've got as much time as you have to talk about the Antichrist.
All right. Well, I could talk about it
But
for
we're
a long
near.
time. I think there's always a question. How do we articulate, some of these existential risks, some of the challenges we have, and they're all framed as sort of runaway dystopian science text. There's a risk of nuclear war. There's a risk of environmental disaster, maybe something specific like climate change, although there are lots of other ones we could come up with. There's a risk of, bioweapons. You have all the different sci-fi scenarios. Obviously, there are certain types of risks with AI. But
Man, I can't fucking take this anymore. Everyone's freaking out because he recently relocated to Argentina. But what most people don't really understand about Argentina is he is involved in projects all over the world, funding and building jurisdictions, towns, cities outside of government law and control. And the main purpose I think he went to Argentina is linked to a billionaire out of the UK who Trump just recently pardoned for insider trading, named Joe Lewis. So Joe Lewis is linked to a region in Patagonia called El Bosan. It has this massive water reservoir, a lake. He's built a hydropower plant there. Joe Lewis built an airport with landing strips that can fit 2 commercial jets that the Argentine government has admitted they don't have radar on. Have you ever heard of a country that doesn't control its airspace, where he can fly people in and out and the government doesn't monitor or in any sort of way keep any sort of accountability nuclear missiles?
always think that if we're going to have this frame of talking about existential risks, perhaps we should also talk about the risk of another type of a bad singularity, which I would describe as the one world totalitarian state. Because I would say the political solution, the default political solution people have for all these existential risks is one world governance. You know, what do you do about nuclear weapons? We have a United Nations with real teeth that controls them, and they're controlled by an international political order. And then something like this, is also what do we do about AI? And we need global compute governance. We need a one world government to control all the computers, log every single keystroke to make sure people don't program a dangerous AI. And I've been wondering whether that's sort of a going from the frying pan into the fire. And
Come on, you can't fool me, brother. He's a proponent of something called the network state, where he believes nation states are no longer needed, they hold back progress, and that these transhumanists can run their own countries the way a CEO runs a company. And the person who came up with this idea is Curtis Yarvin, and he's a huge proponent. And so isn't J.D. Vance, who he bankrolls. So don't let this guy fool you into thinking he's some sort of authority on religion and that he's a libertarian and he's opposed to totalitarian digital surveillance. He got into PayPal. In 1998, he funded it. After 9/11, he used PayPal's access to the financial system to link that to counterterrorism and intelligence. Once he co-founded Palantir, he got into an ideology called total information awareness. And you see what Palantir is doing today. AI targeting with drones, what they're doing in Gaza. So every company this guy's been involved in has been to scoop your data, to know everything about you, finance-wise, even health-wise, military-wise. Can I get the blackmail? This dude is a close known Epstein associate, and even in media. Did you know that Peter Thiel's a media mogul now too? He helped fund and made a contribution to a leftist rag essentially called Compact Magazine, which he was involved in with George Soros' Open Society Foundation. Cue the fucking mic again.
So the atheist philosophical framing is one world or none. That was a short film that was put out by the Federation of American Scientists in the late 40s. Starts with a nuclear bomb blowing up the world, and obviously you need a one world government to stop it, one world or none. And the Christian framing, which in some ways is the same question, is Antichrist or Armageddon. You have the one world state of the Antichrist, or we're sleepwalking towards Armageddon. One world or none, Antichrist or Armageddon, on one level are the same question. Now, I have a lot of thoughts on this topic, but sort of one question is, and this was a plot hole in all these Antichrist books people wrote. How does the Antichrist take over the world? He gives these demonic, hypnotic speeches, and people just fall for it. And so it's this plot hole. It's this daemonium.
Right. It's implausible.
It's a very implausible plot hole.
Right.
But I think we have an answer to this plot hole. The way the Antichrist would take over the world is you talk about Armageddon nonstop. You talk about existential risk nonstop. And this is what you need to regulate. It's the opposite of the picture of Baconian science from the 17th, 18th century, where, the Antichrist is like some evil tech genius, evil scientist who invents this machine to take over the world. People are way too scared for that. In our world, the thing that has political resonance is the opposite. It is the thing that has political resonance is we need to stop science. We need to just say stop to this. And this is where, I don't know, in the 17th century, I can imagine a Dr. Strangelove, Edward Teller type person taking over the world. In our world, it's far more likely to be Greta Thunberg.
Okay, I want to suggest a middle ground between those two options.
That is so cute. How dare you, Peter Thiel? How dare you lie to my face? As you are linked in finance and surveillance and media, and now relocated to the Patagonia region of Argentina to link up with your homie Joe Louis, who has his own city-state down there he's been building.
It used to be that the reasonable fear of the Antichrist was a kind of wizard of technology. And
what is a Palantir? So wizard's orb. Sorry, keep going.
Now the reasonable fear is someone who promises to control technology, make it safe, and sort of usher in what, from your point of view, would be a kind of universal stagnation. Right?
Well, it's more. That's more my description of how it would happen.
Right.
So I think people still have a fear of a 17th century Antichrist.
Yes.
We're still scared of Dr. Strangelove.
Right, but you're saying the real Antichrist would play on that fear and say, you must come with me to avoid Skynet, to avoid the Terminator, to avoid nuclear Armageddon.
As you build it and flee the United States.
Yes.
And I guess my view would be, looking at the world right now, that you would need a certain kind of novel technological progress to make that fear concrete, right? So I can buy that the world could turn to someone who promised peace and regulation if the world became convinced that AI was about to destroy everybody, right? But I think to get to that point, you need one of the accelerationist apocalyptic scenarios to start to play out, right? To get your peace and safety Antichrist, you need more technological progress. Like one of the key failures of totalitarianism in the 20th century was it had a problem of knowledge. It couldn't know what was going on all over in the world, right? So you need the AI or whatever else to be capable of helping the peace.
Husband.
So don't you think you need, essentially, you need your worst case scenario to involve some burst of progress that is then tamed and used to impose stagnant totalitarianism? You can't just get there from where we are right now.
Oh, he's taming them all right. What's your interest in clavicular? Why are you buying up and funding so many different podcasters? Why are you even involved in media and finance and surveillance and AI and all these different sectors? Scumbag.
Well, it can
Like Greta Thunberg's on a boat in the Mediterranean, like, you know, like protesting Israel. Like I just don't see the promise of safety from AI, safety from tech, even safety from climate change right now as a powerful universal rallying cry, absent accelerating change and real fear of total catastrophe.
I mean, these things are so hard to score, but I think environmentalism's pretty powerful. You know, I don't know if it's absolutely powerful enough to create a one world totalitarian state, but man, it is.
I think it is not.
It is
in its current form.
It is. I want to say it's the only thing people still believe in Europe. Like, you know, they believe in the green thing more than Islamic Sharia law or more than in, you know, the Chinese communist totalitarian takeover. And the future is an idea of a future that looks different from the present. The only three on offer in Europe are green, Sharia, and, you know, the totalitarian communist state. And the green one is by far the strongest. In
a decline.
No holds barred gay fun.
Decaying Europe that is not a dominant player in the world.
It's always in a context.
Right.
And then I would, you know, I don't know, you know, we had this really complicated history with the way nuclear technology worked. And, you know, we didn't really get to, you know, a totalitarian one world state. But, you know, by the 1970s, one account of the stagnation is that the runaway progress of technology had gotten very scary, and that, you know, Baconian science, it ended at Los Alamos, and then it was, okay, it ended there, and we didn't want to have any more. And, when Charles Manson took LSD in, you know, the late 60s and started murdering people, what he saw on LSD, what he learned was that you could be like Dostoevsky, an anti-hero in Dostoevsky, and everything was permitted. And of course, not everyone became Charles Manson, but in
Charles
my
Manson,
in my telling of the history, everyone became as deranged as Charles Manson.
But Charles Manson did not become the Antichrist and take over the world, right? We're ending in the apocalyptic.
No, but my telling of the history of the 1970s is the hippies did win, we landed on the moon in July of 1969. Woodstock started 3 weeks later, and with the benefit of hindsight, that's when progress stopped and the hippies won. And yeah, it was not literally Charles Manson.
Okay, but I want to stay with the Antichrist just to end, right? And you're retreating. You're saying, okay, you know, environmentalism is already pro-stagnation and so on. Okay, let's agree with all that. But we're not living under. We're not living under the Antichrist right now. We're just stagnant.
Why are you funding private floating islands? Why are you funding private city-states?
Driven by fear. And I'm suggesting that for that to happen, there would have to be...
Why are you in the Epstein emails all over the place, brah?
Some burst of technological progress that was akin to Los Alamos that people are afraid of. And I guess this is my very specific question for you, right? Is that you're an investor in AI. You're deeply invested in Palantir, in military technology, in technologies of surveillance,
Total information awareness, baby.
technologies of warfare, and so on, right? And it just seems to me that when you tell me a story about the Antichrist coming to power and using the fear of technological change to sort of impose order on the world, I feel like that Antichrist would maybe be using the tools that you were building, right? Like, wouldn't the Antichrist be like, great, we're not going to have any more technological progress, but I really like what Palantir has done so far, right?
Yeah,
I mean, isn't that a concern? Wouldn't that be the irony of history would be that the man publicly worrying about the Antichrist?
Every member of the PayPal mafia. This is like the worst K-pop boy band you've ever seen in your life. Every single member of the PayPal mafia is building a branch of the Antichrist system. Every single one. Elon's got Starlink. With the Palantir's got the loitering drones that are going to be hooked up to Starlink, that are going to scoop all the data and track you. David Sachs, AI crypto, well placed in the government. That's going to be the mark of the beast system that they're setting up with programmable money. You ate too much meat today. Now you're going to have to eat my meat, sonny boy.
Accidentally hastens his or her arrival?
There are all these different scenarios. I obviously don't think that that's what I'm doing.
I mean, to be clear, I don't think that's what you're doing either. I'm just interested in how you get to a world willing to submit to permanent authoritarian rule.
Well, but again, there are these different gradations of this we can describe. But is this so preposterous, what I've just told you, as a broad account of the stagnation that the entire world has submitted for 50 years to peace and safetyism? This is 1 Thessalonians 5:3. The slogan of the Antichrist is peace and safety, and we've submitted to, the FDA regulates not just drugs in the U.S., but de facto in the whole world, because the rest of the world defers to the FDA. The Nuclear Regulatory Commission effectively regulates nuclear power plants all over the world. People, you can't design a modular nuclear reactor and just build it in Argentina. They won't.
Bro, he's telling you everything that's going to happen. The man of peace comes onto the scene after World War III, after all this chaos, after a massive death toll. All right? While you're over there building every single branch of the beast system and doing butt stuff, you're putting it in our face because that's the metaphysical rule that God put in place. You have to warn them. That's why you're doing your whole little Antichrist lecture tour, scumbag.
Trust the Argentinian regulators. They're going to defer to the U.S. And so it's at least a question about why we've had 50 years of stagnation. And one answer is we ran out of ideas. The other answer is that something happened culturally where it wasn't allowed. And then the cultural answer can be sort of a bottom-up answer, that it was just some transformation of humanity into this sort of more docile kind of a species, or it can be at least partially top down, that there is this,
or power bottom up,
this machinery of government that got changed into this stagnations thing. I think something like this. Nuclear power was supposed to be the power of the 21st century, and it somehow has gotten off-ramped all over the world on a worldwide basis.
So in a sense, we're already living under a moderate rule of the Antichrist in that telling. Do you think God is in control of history?
This is again.
He can't answer any question. Should humans continue existing? Oh, that's a tough one. You stomped me. Do you think God's in charge? Oh, you got me again.
I think that I think there's always room for human freedom and human choice. These things are, you know, or at least where we are today, these things are, you know, they're not, you know, they're not absolutely predetermined one way or another.
Right.
you
But
know,
God wouldn't leave us forever under the rule of a mild, moderate, stagnationist antichrist, right? That can't be how the story ends, right?
it's attributing too much causation to God is always a problem. You know, if I don't know, there are different Bible verses I can give you, but I'll give you John 15:25, where Christ says, "They hated me without cause," and so it's all these people that are persecuting Christ have no reason, no cause for why they're persecuting Christ. And if we interpret this as a ultimate causation verse, they want to say, I'm persecuting because God caused me to do this. God is causing everything. And the Christian view is anti-Calvinist. God is not behind history. God is not causing everything. If you say God's causing everything,
but God is, but wait,
you're scapegoating God.
But God is
You're
behind,
scapegoating
okay,
God.
but God is behind Jesus Christ entering history because God was not going to leave us in a stagnationist, decadent Roman Empire, right? So at some point, God is going to step in.
I'm not
Right?
I am not that Calvinist. And
That's not Calvinism, though. That's just Christianity. God will not leave us eternally, staring into screens and being lectured by Greta Thunberg, right? He will not abandon us to that fate.
It is there is a great, I don't know, for better and for worse, I think there's a great deal of scope for human action, for human freedom. If I thought
You're not one of us, bro. Cut the shit. How many times can you bring up nuclear and Argentina? Have you even said the name of Jesus, bro? Or do you call him the Nazarene? Because that's what the Satanists do.
these things were deterministic, you might as well, maybe just accept it. The lions are coming. You should just have some yoga and prayerful meditation and wait while the lions eat you up. And I don't think that's what you're supposed to do.
I agree with that. And I think on that note, I'm just trying to be hopeful and suggesting that, in trying to resist the Antichrist, using your human freedom, you should have hope that you'll succeed, right?
We can agree on that.
Good. Peter Thiel, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
Well, friends and neighbors, thank you for joining me in this React video. This will be the first of many. Till next time.